Hey there gamers, welcome back to the Board Game Co channel, and today we have a preview of Jarren's Outpost. Hey there gamers, it's Professor Meg here, and welcome back to the Board Game Co channel. Today we have a preview of D&D's for Nerds presents Jarren's Outpost. Now this is a sponsored video, and this is also a prototype copy, so everything you see in front of you is all rules, components, things like that are subject to change. You can check out the Kickstarter link down below for everything that they have planned for their campaign. Now that being said, Jarren's Outpost is going to be placed in a world based on D&D's for Nerds, so it's going to be a bit cheeky where this world is a bit forlorn. These are a ragtag motley crew. These are the worst of the worst, some might say. But that being said, you're going to have the course of 7 days to acquire as much prestige as possible. Now you're going to do this by maneuvering all around this world, picking up different things, fighting off different enemies, and most importantly, completing different quests. Now here you can see the world in front of you, which is built out on a 5x5 tiled map. So we have Jarren's trading post in the very center, and then otherwise we have all of these different locations that you are able to visit and then interact with. Now the game is going to be played over the course of 7 days, and you're going to have those 7 days to gain as much prestige as possible by the end of that track. Each day is going to have 4 turns within it, where it's going to have the morning, afternoon, evening, and night. So you do have multiple turns within each day to get a lot done. Now that may seem like you're able to get a lot done, but you are going to be playing these different movement cards for each of those phases of the day. So at the start of each day, you're going to have your planning preparation phase, and you're going to plan out exactly which moves you're going to do, but you will not yet reveal them. Then going through each phase of the days, you'll reveal your movement cards, and when you do reveal those, that is when you have your choice to either take the movement action or other actions. So it may seem like you're able to move around the board a lot, but you'll also be using those move cards to take your different actions as well. Now in Jarren's Outpost, at the end of the day, prestige is going to be all that really matters, and defeating some of the NPCs will give you prestige, but that's very rare, and you're going to look for the most prestige when you're completing the different quests. But the quests are public and anyone can be completing them. Now the quests are going to be very silly, where you're trying to pick up and deliver certain things to certain areas, you're trying to have certain things interact certain ways, trying to meet the conditions that the quest needs, but everyone is going to be trying to do that, so they're going to also be trying to get in your way, pick up that thing first, and bring them to where it needs to go. Now, at the beginning of the game, you can see that most tiles start out with both an NPC and an item card on them. Jarren's trading post is where you're going to get more items, and the different taverns are where you're going to be able to find the NPCs that are up on this board over here. However, all of the other spots are going to have different NPCs and items for you to interact with. Now, looking at the player board here, I do have this game set up for a 3-player game. However, I only have 1 player board here in front of you. Now, all of these characters are asymmetric, meaning that they're going to have different abilities, different stats for their statistics here, as well as a different health. Now, some of them are also even going to have a different carrying capacity, whereas usually you have 4 items in your backpack. However, Periwinkle O'Rourke's ability is that all items count as small, so he only has 3 spots in his backpack, limiting that ability a bit, because there is a system of both small and large items, and a small item only costs you 1 spot in your backpack, whereas a large item would normally cost you 2, such as this club here, which is a large weapon, and any NPC which you choose to pick up will also cost you, as a large item would, 2 spots in your backpack. So you can see here where Periwinkle is able to carry 3 different things because they all count as small for this character, but for other characters, they would only be able to carry both of these items within the 4 slots of their backpack here. Now, before we move on, as I'm talking about the different characters and their abilities, I'm just going to go through some of these. So some of them are going to be in the base edition, and some of them are going to be in the deluxe edition. So these are the other ones that are here in this base edition, and then for the deluxe, you also have these characters here. Now, again, these are all prototype rules, components, things like that, subject to change, but I wanted to show you just the variety of the different characters that you're able to play as, because this adds so much more to the chaos and fun of you maneuvering around this different board, running around, trying to pick up the different items and complete the quests as quickly as possible. So looking more at your player board here, you can also see that your health track runs along your items. So as you lose health, you are no longer able to hold on to certain items, and it may cause you to drop them. Now, this is also something that could cause you to drop an item that is relevant to a particular quest, and when you drop an item, they go to the bottom of the item deck. Now, these cards do spawn out on rounds 3 and 6, so more cards are placed out throughout the game, but that being said, it can be very detrimental to lose your health and then be forced to drop your different items. Now, looking at your statistics here, different ones are going to come into play, but this would be your skill check. So for this character, starting off, their skill check would be a 4, meaning that they would have to roll a 4 or higher for a successful check. But as the game goes on and certain things will be added to them, for example, certain items, things like that, their skill can be increased, meaning that they would have to still roll a 4 or higher, but they're starting off with an increased advantage. Now after that is their attack ability, so you can see that this character can attack a little bit easier. So on a 3 or higher, they would be successful for an attack, and then this would be the damage that is done. So you'd be able to use everything that you have available to you, meaning that if this character were to attack with their club, they would be able to do 1 plus 2 damage, meaning a total of 3 damage instead, because they are swinging this around now. But they would still need to roll a 3 or higher to be successful. Now, something that's very cool in this game that harkens back to RPGs is that a 1 is always a critical failure and a 6 is always a critical success, meaning that's just, it's always a success or failure if you get a 6 or 1, so just keep that in mind as well. Now, as I went through the different statistics, you can see why picking up different things can be very important. You're going to want to pick up different weapons so that you're dealing more damage to the different NPCs. You're also going to want to be picking up different things that will augment your skill, for example, different accessories such as a ring or things like that. There's also armor that you're able to use to negate damage that your player would take. There are boots, there are a whole bunch of different things, but as I also noted, you are also able to pick up the different NPCs. Now, if you go across a friendly NPC, for example, over here we have Papa Quiet Knife, he would join you automatically because he is friendly. But if you do want to pick up a hostile NPC, you would have to take half of their damage rounded up. In this case, it would be 1 because it would be 1 anyway, but you would have to take damage from them before they are willing to join your team. Now, the core loop of the game is that in Jarren's Outpost, you're going to be playing over the course of 7 days, and then you're going to have those 4 different turns within those 7 days. So when you do that, you are going to go throughout your planning phase first, and you're going to set all of your movement cards into your board. You're not going to flip them over yet, but you are going to set them, so I'm going to go over what that means, but then after that, that's when you would be taking your different actions. Now, your actions are going to be moving around the board, attacking, or interacting. Now, interacting can be picking up an item, but it can also be interacting with a specific location. Now, some locations are going to let you interact with them automatically, but some of them you're going to have to do a skill check, for example, to be able to do the thing you want to do. So, for example, here you can see Leo's apartment, and to interact with this location, you would have to make a skill check, but then you're able to take a small item from the board. So you're able to look around the board and take a small item that you would want. However, there is a hostile NPC here, so at the end of the turn, if you were to end your turn here, you would take 2 damage from them if they were not defeated before that. So that is something to keep in mind, is that the hostile NPCs will be dealing damage back to you, either in battle if you don't attack them and take them out, or if you end your spot on their turn, they will also want to be dealing damage back to you as well. Now, here you can see Quiet Knives Jewelers, and this is another one where you would be able to take an interact action, but this would happen automatically, and this one is a move to Jarren's trading post, so you would be able to use this to move over here to Jarren's trading post a bit faster because movement is only 1 spot in this game. So now, as I stated here, you can see the different movement cards that are placed out, which will be revealed round over round, and just to go through the actions a bit more, you do have moves. So here we have turn left and move 1 space. You may interact with the location. So over here we have Periwinkle, and the way that they are facing does matter with the way that they are oriented, but they would be able to move over here to this area, and they would end facing this direction, as you can see on the card. So they would end facing toward the left, but then they would be here in the Surefoot School, meaning that the next turn they would be able to do a few different things. So going through the different actions, move moving is one of them, so if you choose to move, that is your action for the turn, but if you choose not to use the movement, you can interact, as I said, attack, or another thing that you are able to do is rest. So you may choose to rest if you feel that you need to, and then in that case, you can face your standee in any direction that you choose, and also heal yourself by 1 damage point. Now, this can be very important if you don't want to drop anything. You may want to be watching your health, so resting can be rare, but it can be very important. Now, there are also a few other free actions that can be done throughout the game that players are going to be able to do whenever it calls for it. For example, I have a health potion over here, which can be discarded to gain 5 health. Now, consumables are able to be used as a free action, so that's something that you would be able to at any point, even in a response to taking damage. Now to look more at the quests and how you'll be fulfilling them, down here you can see Lost Ghost. Drop off Lord Triton, Chieftain Whiplock, or Lady Forrester at Rhodes Keep. So you can see here that our Periwinkle or O'Rourke has Lady Forrester available to him, and all he needs now is to deliver her over here to Rhodes Keep, and then the quest would be automatically fulfilled. Now this one is going to gain 2 prestige, and then a new quest would automatically come out. Now, throughout the game, players are going to have a free-for-all for deciding exactly what they want to do and how they want to do it. There's going to be a lot available to you here on the board, and the quests are going to be cycling through as people start completing them, meaning that you may have something that's very opportune and could be dropped off somewhere at exactly the right time. But that being said, it may be something that was something you really enjoyed and was relying a lot on, and now it's gone because you needed to complete your quest, because prestige is what's most important at the end of the day. But that being said, you're constantly going to be working through the different NPCs that you pick up and the different items that you're able to use, because there's so much available here on the board that it really is very exciting to look through and see the different options that you have available to you. And as I said, on rounds 3 and 6, the cards will respawn and everyone else will come back out into the town for you to be able to delight them again by completing the different quests. So these cards are going to be constantly coming out, going away, and coming back, and they are all just so cheeky and fun that they're very, very fun to interact with and see what you are able to grab first and what you are able to hold on to that will become valuable to you later. Now, you have a health bar, and you might be thinking to yourself, what good is all of this health if I can't die? So there are these 7 different days, and if you are brought to 0 health, you don't die, but you are out for the entire day. So it's very interesting that for the rest of the day, all of your movement cards are gone, anything in your backpack is lost, but you are able to regain the game on the following day. So there's going to be a bit of a free-for-all, and perhaps you might have some bad luck in the beginning, but that being said, you're going to be able to gain things up after different turns once you get past the one bad day that you had. One other thing to note is that apart from Jarren's trading post, which is placed in the center of the board, all of the other locations are randomized when they are placed out at the beginning of the game. Now, there is a bit of rules with what you are able to place, such as the taverns and the sewers, but apart from that, there is a huge amount of replayability with which locations are located near each other and how well they synergize with the different things that come out. Another thing that changes is all of the cards that are placed out, because obviously all of these decks are shuffled and then placed out, so everything is going to have a different chance of how you are able to play through it depending on all the different games that you set up. Overall, Jarren's Outpost is going to be a game of structured chaos. You know exactly how many days there are, how many turns, and all of that. You know the structure of the rounds and how many turns you're going to take. But apart from that, there's going to be so much for you to react to, especially as it starts coming out on the board and the different things that other players are going to be throwing at you. Everyone is going to be working toward these shared quests, so you're going to see if you're the one that's able to go for it first. But as I said, you're going to have to decide what you really want to do, whether you're picking up the different quest items, or if you're picking up the NPCs that need to travel to certain areas, or whether or not you want to take some armor or weapons, because all of those are going to be important to make sure that you don't die and lose out on an entire day. Now, at the end of those 7 days, you're going to see who has the most prestige, because that is going to be the winner, and they're going to be the most impressive person at Jarren's Outpost. If this sounds interesting to you, you can check out the Kickstarter link down below for everything that they have planned. Thank you to D&D is for Nerds for sponsoring this video, and I have been Professor Meg. This has been a preview of Jarren's Outpost, and I will see you all next time. Bye!